The early 1960s marked a turning point in American automotive history. The nation was brimming with optimism, prosperity, and a growing fascination with personal luxury and style. Among the big three automakers, General Motors was leading the charge in defining what luxury meant for the American middle and upper class. Within its hierarchy of divisions, Buick had long stood for comfortable, powerful, and respectable cars, vehicles that bridged the gap between the accessibility of Chevrolet and the exclusivity of Cadillac. Yet, by the dawn of the new decade, Buick executives realized that something was missing: a personal luxury car, something to compete with Ford's Thunderbird, a car that would merge sophistication with performance, elegance with presence. The answer came in 1963 with the introduction of the Buick Riviera, a name that would soon become synonymous with the concept of luxury on wheels. The Riviera did not emerge by accident. It was born from a clear vision conceived by GM's design chief, Bill Mitchell. After succeeding the legendary Harley Earl, Mitchell sought to give the company's cars a sharper, more athletic identity, inspired by European Grand Tourers and the elegance of Italian design. In 1959, while driving along the French Riviera, Mitchell found inspiration for a new kind of American car, something that captured the glamour and refinement of Europe but was distinctly American in power and comfort. This vision took shape in a design exercise internally known as Project XP715, a sleek, clean, two-door coupe unlike anything Buick had ever produced. The Riviera's body was revolutionary for its time. Mitchell pushed for a crisp, formal look, long hood, short deck, and a perfectly balanced silhouette. The designers avoided excessive chrome and tail fins, which had dominated the 1950s, and instead emphasized proportion, stance, and surface tension. The final product, built on a modified version of Buick's Cruciform X frame, was slightly smaller than most Buicks but retained a commanding presence. It was wide and low, with a subtle aggression that evoked power even at rest. The grille was set deeply between dual headlamps, the sides were clean, and the rear fenders tapered gracefully to a distinctive boattail-like curve. When it debuted in October 1962 as a 1963 model, the Riviera stunned the automotive world. Under the hood, the first-generation Riviera came equipped with Buick's 401 cubic-inch, nail-head V8 engine, producing 325 horsepower and a mountain of torque. For those seeking even more muscle, the optional 425 cubic-inch version pushed output to 340 horsepower, later increased to 360. Paired with the new twin-turbine Dynaflow automatic transmission and power steering, the car offered effortless acceleration and refinement. Despite weighing over 4,000 pounds, it could surge from 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 8 seconds, impressive for a luxury coupe. Yet the real magic was not just in its straight-line speed, but in how it handled. The Riviera's suspension, featuring coil springs at all four corners, delivered an unusually balanced and composed ride for its size. Buick engineers worked tirelessly to achieve the perfect combination of comfort and control, using thicker anti-roll bars and wider tires to give the Riviera a confident feel on both highways and winding roads. Inside, the car's cabin reflected pure luxury. The dashboard wrapped around the driver like an aircraft cockpit, with chrome-rimmed gauges and controls positioned within easy reach. Rich wood veneer, deep carpeting, and soft leather or premium vinyl gave the interior a sense of exclusivity that rivaled even Cadillac's finest. Every element was crafted to communicate refinement and modernity. There were power windows, air conditioning, tilt steering, and even an optional AM/FM radio, still a novelty in the early 1960s. Buick also paid special attention to sound insulation, ensuring the cabin remained serenely quiet even at high speed. The result was a car that felt like a private sanctuary, an automotive expression of mid-century American elegance and confidence. When the Riviera hit showrooms, it instantly drew acclaim. Automotive journalists praised its design as a masterpiece of restraint and proportion. The car's crisp lines and subtle details marked a new direction for American styling, signaling a move away from the excesses of the previous decade. Road and Track compared it favorably to European Grand Tourers, while Car and Driver called it one of the best-looking cars ever built in America. Even the usually conservative Buick clientele, accustomed to more traditional sedans, were captivated by its boldness. The Riviera sold nearly 40,000 units in its debut year, a strong number considering its premium price tag of around $4,300, positioning it directly between the Thunderbird and the entry-level Cadillac. As the Riviera evolved, so did its engineering sophistication. The 1964 model retained the same basic structure but received subtle refinements. The most notable change came with the introduction of the new Super Turbine 400 transmission, which improved performance and fuel efficiency. Engineers also fine-tuned the suspension geometry and upgraded the braking system with finned aluminum drums, enhancing stopping power. That year, Buick also offered the Super Wildcat engine option, a 425 cubic inch V8 fitted with dual 4-barrel carburetors, producing a formidable 360 horsepower. With that setup, the Riviera became one of the most powerful personal luxury cars of its era, capable of effortless high-speed cruising on the new interstate highways spreading across the United States. The Riviera's blend of elegance and muscle made it a symbol of American engineering excellence. Unlike many of its contemporaries, it was not simply a showpiece, it was a driver's car. Buick engineers devoted enormous effort to balancing weight distribution and refining steering feedback, ensuring the car could be enjoyed not only for its comfort but for its dynamics. The suspension design was particularly advanced for a car of its class, with unequal length control arms in front and a solid rear axle carefully tuned for ride stability. Combined with the low center of gravity and wide stance, the Riviera handled with an agility that surprised even seasoned drivers. It was a car that invited long journeys, rewarding the driver with both power and grace. By 1965, Buick introduced a major restyling that brought sharper contours and a more aggressive front fascia. The hidden headlights, concealed behind clamshell doors, gave the car a modern and mysterious appearance when closed and an assertive presence when open. The roofline flowed more cleanly into the rear fenders, and the wheelbase was slightly extended for improved interior space. Mechanically, the Riviera continued to refine its V8 power plants, while chassis engineers improved the car's structural rigidity. The 1965 Riviera represented the peak of the first generation, its proportions were near perfect, and its detailing was admired even by designers from competing companies. It was luxurious yet purposeful, elegant yet imposing, a true statement of American industrial artistry. Although sales dipped slightly in the mid-1960s as competition intensified, the Riviera retained its reputation as a trendsetter. The 1966 and 1967 models introduced minor cosmetic updates and further interior refinements, emphasizing quietness and sophistication. The Riviera was not just a car, it was a declaration of status. It told the world that its owner appreciated performance but valued elegance and taste above all else. Buick's advertising of the time leaned heavily on this image, presenting the Riviera as the finest expression of Buick luxury ever built. Its target audience was successful professionals, executives, and entrepreneurs, people who wanted Cadillac-level prestige without the ostentation. The second generation, launched for 1966, represented a major leap forward in both design and technology. Built on a new perimeter frame, the Riviera grew larger and more imposing, reflecting the general trend of the American market. It shared some architecture with the Oldsmobile Toronado and the Cadillac Eldorado but retained its rear-wheel drive layout, unlike its front-wheel drive siblings. The car's lines were smoother and more curvaceous, marked by a dramatic fastback roofline and pronounced fender arches. The front end featured a bold, forward-thrusting grille flanked by vertically stacked headlights, while the rear tapered elegantly into a sculpted deck. The effect was one of dynamic motion, even when the car stood still. Beneath its long hood lay an updated 425 cubic inch Wildcat 465 engine, named for its torque output of 465 lb-ft. With 340 horsepower on tap, it offered effortless acceleration and smooth cruising at any speed. The new turbohydromatic 400 transmission provided crisp, reliable shifts, and optional features like automatic climate control, power seat adjustment, and tilt and telescoping steering further enhanced the Riviera's reputation as a technical showcase. Buick engineers also implemented improvements in noise reduction, with thicker insulation, advanced body mounts, and redesigned door seals. The result was an even quieter, more refined cabin, a near-silent cocoon gliding down the highway. One of the Riviera's most notable engineering achievements during this era was its attention to chassis tuning. Despite its considerable size and weight, it remained remarkably composed. Buick employed a new ride and handling package that optimized spring rates, shock absorbers, and anti-roll bars for better cornering performance. Testers often remarked on the car's uncanny balance, its ability to deliver both luxury and driver engagement without compromise. On long, sweeping roads, the Riviera felt planted and unflappable, a testament to GM's deep engineering expertise. For all its comfort, the car never felt disconnected from the road. This combination of refinement and precision became one of its hallmarks and a key reason why the Riviera remains celebrated among enthusiasts to this day. By the late 1960s, the Riviera had established itself as one of the defining luxury coupes of the decade. Its influence extended far beyond Buick, shaping the design language of American cars in general. Competitors from Ford, Chrysler, and even foreign manufacturers began adopting its clean lines and formal elegance. The Riviera's success also helped cement Buick's identity as a builder of cars for those who valued subtle sophistication, a contrast to the flashier muscle cars and flamboyant cruisers of the era. Yet, as the automotive world prepared to enter the 1970s, the Riviera was poised to undergo yet another dramatic transformation, one that would push the boundaries of automotive design even further. As the decade drew to a close, the Buick Riviera faced a rapidly changing automotive landscape. The late 1960s were years of both innovation and upheaval. America's highways were filled with muscle cars, the youth market was exploding with performance-oriented models, and federal safety and emissions regulations were beginning to reshape the way cars were designed. Yet, within this context of transition, the Riviera continued to evolve as a refined expression of luxury, performance, and technical excellence. Buick engineers and designers sought to preserve the Riviera's character while adapting to the new realities of the industry. What resulted between 1968 and 1969 was the culmination of everything Buick had learned during the decade, a car that blended engineering maturity with unmistakable style. The 1968 Riviera marked the beginning of the end for the second generation, but it was no mere carryover. Buick refined the body with smoother lines, subtly integrated bumpers, and improved aerodynamics. The front fascia adopted a wider, more horizontal grille that gave the car a broader stance, while the hidden headlamps, now a Riviera trademark, operated with greater precision and reliability. The tail section was sculpted for both elegance and aerodynamic efficiency, its full-width tail lamps emphasizing the car's horizontal presence. Every curve of the body seemed to reflect the confidence of American design at its peak. Beneath this elegance lay a car engineered for long-distance comfort and sustained performance. Power continued to come from Buick's formidable 430 cubic-inch V8, introduced in 1967. This engine represented one of the finest power plants Buick ever produced, delivering 360 horsepower and an immense 475 lb-ft of torque. With a 10.25-to-1 compression ratio and large 4-barrel Rochester carburetor, the 430 was both smooth and strong, perfectly suited for the Riviera's grand touring mission. It featured advanced design elements for the time, such as hydraulic valve lifters for reduced maintenance, a high-lift camshaft for improved breathing, and a heavy-duty cooling system that ensured consistent performance even under demanding conditions. Mated to the turbohydromatic 400 transmission, the Riviera accelerated with remarkable grace, its power delivered in an unbroken surge rather than a violent explosion. The experience was one of controlled authority, a hallmark of Buick engineering philosophy. Handling and ride quality were key focuses for the 1968 model. Engineers improved front and rear suspension geometry, redesigned shock absorber valving, and introduced variable ratio power steering for better feedback and ease of control. Buick's Grand Touring package, available as an option, provided stiffer springs and performance-oriented tires, giving the big coupe sharper reflexes. For braking, front disc brakes were finally made standard, offering greater confidence under heavy loads or at high speed. These refinements transformed the Riviera into a truly capable grand tourer, one that could glide effortlessly at 90 miles per hour on open highways while maintaining composure through sweeping turns. It wasn't a sports car, nor did it try to be. Instead, it embodied the uniquely American idea of performance, effortless power combined with serenity. Inside, the Riviera's interior continued to set benchmarks for craftsmanship and comfort. The 1968 model featured a redesigned dashboard with aircraft-style gauges, a new center console layout, and improved materials throughout. The upholstery options included combinations of genuine leather, fine cloth, and deep pile carpeting. Buick even experimented with new foam technologies for the seats to provide superior long-distance comfort. Soundproofing was enhanced with additional insulation around the firewall and under the floor, resulting in one of the quietest cabins of any car in its class. A driver could cruise for hours with only the faint hum of the engine in the background and the soft rhythm of tires against the asphalt. Features like automatic climate control, AM/FM stereo systems, and power-operated accessories reinforced the Riviera's image as a car that offered the ultimate in convenience and modernity. The following year, 1969, represented the final refinement of the second-generation Riviera. It was a model of subtle evolution rather than revolution. Externally, the changes were modest: revised grille patterns, updated tail lamps, and new wheel designs, but beneath the skin, Buick engineers continued to perfect the formula. The 430 V8 received minor tuning adjustments for smoother operation, and transmission calibration was refined to deliver crisper shifts under acceleration. Buick also introduced an improved ventilation system and additional corrosion protection measures, addressing long-term durability. The 1969 Riviera stood as a mature, impeccably balanced machine, perhaps less daring than its predecessor, but undeniably sophisticated. It was a car that exuded confidence, built for a generation of Americans who valued quality and comfort over flashiness. Yet, even as the 1969 Riviera represented the pinnacle of this era, changes were already underway. Within GM's design studios, plans were being drawn for a bold new Riviera, one that would redefine the car's identity once again. Chief designer Jerry Hirschberg, working under Bill Mitchell's direction, envisioned a more dramatic, almost sculptural form inspired by the speed and elegance of jet aircraft and the flowing lines of classic boats. The result would be the 1971 Riviera, often referred to as the boat-tail Riviera, perhaps the most visually daring American luxury coupe ever built. While outside the strict time frame of the 1960s, the boat-tail's development began during those final Riviera years and was a direct descendant of the engineering philosophies perfected between 1963 and 1969. The boat-tail Riviera's gestation highlighted the confidence and ambition of GM's design department. Mitchell wanted a car that could stand as an art piece on wheels, something to evoke both nostalgia and modernity. Its tapered rear deck, long hood, and sweeping roofline were reminiscent of the classic Auburn speedsters of the 1930s, while its proportions were thoroughly modern. The car sat on a new E-body platform shared with the Eldorado and Toronado, but Buick retained rear-wheel drive to preserve the Riviera's traditional dynamics. Engineering this car required solving complex challenges related to weight distribution and structural rigidity, especially given its unique silhouette. The team employed new computer-aided stress analysis techniques, then cutting-edge technology, to ensure the car remained stable and quiet at speed despite its dramatic proportions. Even before its release, the upcoming boat-tail began influencing public perception of the Riviera brand. It demonstrated that Buick was willing to take risks, to challenge conventions in both design and engineering. This spirit of innovation was rooted in the Riviera's origins from the early 1960s. Each generation of Riviera had pushed the boundaries of what a personal luxury coupe could be. From the crisp minimalism of the 1963 original to the muscular grace of the late 1960s models, the car consistently redefined the balance between power and sophistication. It was neither a sports car nor a limousine, but something entirely its own, a uniquely American expression of refined strength. Looking back at the Riviera's engineering evolution through the 1960s reveals a remarkable consistency of purpose. Buick engineers always pursued a careful equilibrium between comfort, performance, and technological innovation. They experimented with advanced materials, precision manufacturing techniques, and new methods of sound isolation that would later become industry standards. The Riviera's electrical systems, for instance, were among the most reliable in the GM lineup, thanks to rigorous testing protocols. Its suspension bushings and frame mounts were designed to absorb vibration frequencies that would otherwise cause fatigue during long drives. Even the fuel delivery and cooling systems were engineered with a level of robustness rare in passenger cars of the time. These technical achievements helped establish Buick's reputation for quiet, durable, and impeccably constructed vehicles. Beyond the technical aspects, the Riviera also played a symbolic role in shaping the identity of American automotive design. It stood at the crossroads of tradition and modernity, combining craftsmanship with industrial precision. In an age when cars often relied on excessive chrome, excessive ornamentation, the Riviera represented restraint and proportion. Its clean surfaces and balanced forms echoed architectural and industrial trends of the era, mirroring the aesthetic of mid-century modernism. Designers from Europe and Japan studied the Riviera's lines, noting how it managed to appear both substantial and light. The car became a benchmark not just for Buick, but for the entire industry, proving that elegance could coexist with mass production. By 1969, the Riviera had also become an important export model for Buick, finding customers in Europe, the Middle East, and Latin America. Its reputation for power and reliability appealed to international buyers who admired American engineering but preferred something more refined than a muscle car. In markets like Switzerland and Germany, the Riviera's advanced automatic transmission and quiet V8 impressed even those accustomed to European marques like Mercedes-Benz and Jaguar. Buick capitalized on this prestige, positioning the Riviera as a cosmopolitan luxury coupe, a car equally at home on the Autobahn or the Pacific Coast Highway. The Riviera's cultural impact extended into film, music, and art. Its unmistakable silhouette appeared in countless movies and TV shows throughout the 1960s and 1970s, often symbolizing affluence and taste. Musicians and celebrities embraced it for its combination of luxury and subtle power. Unlike the ostentatious Cadillacs or the brash Mustangs, the Riviera carried an air of sophistication that resonated with artists and professionals alike. It was a car that suggested confidence without arrogance, a machine that turned heads not through volume, but through design purity. From an engineering perspective, one of the Riviera's most significant legacies was the refinement of GM's large V8 engines. The Nailhead, and later the Wildcat, and 430 series engines represented the pinnacle of Buick's mechanical craftsmanship. They were overbuilt, smooth, and designed to deliver torque effortlessly. The attention to balance, lubrication, and thermal management in these engines influenced GM powertrain development well into the 1970s. Many of the design principles first tested in Riviera engines, such as optimized port geometry and improved combustion chamber design, later appeared in smaller, more efficient engines during the oil crisis years. In this way, the Riviera's engineering excellence had long-term consequences for the industry as a whole. Another key innovation was Buick's approach to NVH, noise, vibration, and harshness control. During the 1960s, Buick engineers conducted extensive studies using early vibration analysis equipment to identify and eliminate unwanted frequencies in the chassis and drivetrain. They introduced the concept of tuned isolation, where components were designed to resonate at frequencies outside the range of human sensitivity. This pioneering work gave the Riviera its signature quietness and became a template for future GM vehicles. It demonstrated that luxury was not only about materials or performance, but about the total sensory experience of driving. By the close of the 1960s, the Riviera had become an American institution. It embodied the optimism, craftsmanship, and confidence of its era, a time when the automobile was more than transportation, it was an expression of identity and ambition. The Riviera's balance of engineering excellence and aesthetic integrity set it apart from its rivals. It bridged the gap between power and poise, proving that true luxury lies not in excess, but in harmony. As the 1970s approached, bringing new challenges and changing tastes, the Riviera stood as a reminder of what American engineering could achieve when guided by vision and artistry. Even today, the 1963 to 1969 Riviera remains one of the most admired designs in automotive history. Collectors prize it not only for its beauty but for its mechanical sophistication and build quality. The car's proportions still feel modern, its driving experience still rich and rewarding. It represents a golden age when designers and engineers worked side by side to create machines that stirred the soul as much as they impressed the intellect. The Riviera was, and remains, a triumph of form and function, a car that truly made America fall in love with the idea of luxury on wheels.